Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Today's video, we have more background noise. I'm so sorry. Every time I film a video, there's like World War III going on outside. I can't even talk. It can't be the garbage man again because he already came this week. Some other shit's going down, so I apologize. But anyways, the topic of today's video is going to be my modeling story, or kind of how I got into modeling, how I started modeling. It's still one of my most asked questions, and I have so many of you guys asking me about modeling on a daily basis. I figured I would make one video that encompasses my entire modeling journey and everything that I did to get to where I am now, and some tips and tricks for you guys as well who are just starting out or who maybe are in kind of a rut with your modeling career. Not that I'm really flourishing right now considering I'm sitting at home like the rest of us, and also not to say that I'm like the most successful model in general, even when we're not quarantined. I just mean whatever, you guys asked, okay? So anyways, without further ado, let's get started. Essentially, I started modeling and actually got signed less than 2 years ago, so I would say a little over a year and a half ago. I didn't start working until a little over a year ago. Working on set and shooting as a professional paid model, I didn't start doing that until about a year ago, and I'm 24. So some of you guys out there think that if you're a little bit older, or you're not like 15 or you're not 18, that you're too old, and I don't think that that's true. I think especially now, the industry is changing so much in so many ways. Like I said, I don't think that I started too late or anything like that. I went to college, 4-year school. I went to journalism school. So I guess I'll just backtrack and give you guys more of a full story on me. Really quick, a little synopsis. I was always tall as a kid, but I was a bigger kid. So not bigger, like I wasn't, you know, super chubby or anything as a kid. I was kind of never really stick thin either. So I was kind of always in the middle. And so people would tell me, oh yeah, Nikki, you should model. You're so tall. And I'd be like, yeah, but I didn't really fit, you know, the modeling measurements. Even as a child or an adolescent, I guess, I still wasn't at that point thin enough to fit the standard model measurements. And as I got older, those measurements I think have gotten a lot different, and there are now so many different kinds of modeling that you can do, and you don't need to be 5'10" and a certain body proportion anymore, because the industry is changing, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Anyways, moving on into high school and college. In high school, I started my YouTube channel, and in college, I started really posting on Instagram. And why I bring this up is because I essentially got modeling experience more or less through Instagram. My senior year of college, I started doing more photo shoots. By photo shoots, I mean it was me and a photographer as opposed to me and my friend and a phone. Do swim shoots, or I would put together outfits and do kind of more like fashion photo shoot. It was not a high quality production, I'll just tell you that. But why I bring this up is because I think that anything like that can kind of help you get comfortable in front of a camera and get comfortable in front of another individual with a camera shooting you, as opposed to your self-timer, your YouTube videos, or your friend with an iPhone. Because I think that a lot of times influencers who become models get a bad rap, and I don't mean this in an offensive way by any means, because I am one. You know what I mean? Like, I was an influencer and then I became a model. But I think because they're so comfortable with them controlling the whole situation and the angles and how their hair and makeup looks and the editing and everything that goes into it, the outfit, the lighting, the background. When you're an influencer, you essentially, like, your Instagram is your second portfolio if you're a model and you're also an influencer. Or if you're just an influencer, your Instagram is essentially your portfolio. It is your space to do whatever you want, and you can completely control everything. Whereas when you are a model, even on test shoots that you pay for, you still are essentially a lot of times in the control of the photographer, the makeup artist and the hairstylist and the stylist on set, or if it's a paid shoot, the brand and the client and whatever they want, and the creative director and whatever their vision is. So that goes from the poses that you do, to the facial expressions, to the way that your makeup looks, to the way that your hair looks. You could have short hair and they want to put extensions in you, and they want to put, you know, a ton of makeup on you and transform you into a completely different person. I'm getting off on a tangent here, but what I meant to say was getting comfortable in front of a camera could really help you. Even if you're not like a social media influencer, building up your Instagram as a portfolio can really help. That being said, I think Instagram is a huge tool that you can take advantage of, especially if you are somebody that doesn't live in a major city. This is what I did. I lived in the middle of nowhere, Massachusetts, and I was a college student, and I worked 2 jobs and did YouTube, and I used my Instagram as essentially a portfolio. I used it as, and it wasn't even, you don't even have to post any kind of photos. I just mean photos of yourself that show off your face, or your figure, or your ability to move, or your fashion sense, or any kind of aesthetic that you want. It doesn't have to be all of the above. It doesn't have to be any one of these things. Whatever you're trying to go for, whatever clients you want to work with, that's kind of what you should maybe try and portray on your Instagram. And mine has definitely changed over the years. It's still always evolving, and I'm always changing and evolving, and that is okay too. So yeah, anyways, getting back to our timeline here, I had a gap year in between when I graduated university to when I moved to LA. And that gap year I continued. I would fly myself out to Miami because it was freezing cold in Massachusetts where I lived for most of the year. And I would book myself test shoots. I would pay myself to stay somewhere or stay with a friend. I would pay for my flights. I'd pay for all my meals. And this was before I was signed to an agency. And this was just to get photos for Instagram, like straight up photos for Instagram. And that was money out of my own pocket before I even thought I was going to be any kind of model. I just wanted photos for Instagram, whatever. Still at this time, I didn't think it was achievable for me to become a signed model, just based on the fact that my measurements weren't the measurements of what I considered to be a plus size model, which would be a size 14, 16, and they were definitely not a straight size model, which is like a 0 to a 4. So I was always kind of in between. For reference, I'm like a 6'8", now more so a 6, sometimes an 8. Like before I was more of an 8. My weight kind of fluctuates sometimes, so I was always that in-betweeny size. Ended up moving to LA, and within the first few months of me moving to LA, my mother agent, who's actually based out of Miami, scouted me on Instagram. And I had a phone call with her, and it kind of seemed fishy at first. Like I thought that it was a scam, just because I was like, there's no way that I could model. And I've actually had other friends, curve models of mine, some of my close friends tell me that the first time they got scouted, they thought it was a scam too, because they were like, there's no way you want me to, like me, come on. And these are some of the most beautiful girls that I know, so it's not just me that thinks this. Not that I'm the most beautiful girl, but you know what I mean. Then we had a really amazing phone call, and I looked into the agency, which, by the way, I've had people reach out and be like, we are this agency, and if, in fact, they have no affiliation to that agency. And I've had other girls reach out to me and say, hey, like Wilhelmina reached out to me, do you think this is legitimate? And now I know how to look out for a scammer. And you just look at the email, and you have to double check everything. So just like I'm putting that out there as well, for aspiring models, be really careful. Do not send any photos or any videos or anything like that to anybody, because God only knows who is actually behind that email. You need to do all of your fact checking. Make sure that it's actually coming from like at blah 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 models.com or whatever their email is. I even went as far as reaching out to that agency and being like, hey, is this you? And they were like, nah. So be very careful. But anyways, when my mother agent reached out to me, it ended up being very legitimate, and I still work with her to this day. I'm still signed with her, and she's still my mother agent. And she began to set up agency meetings for me within Los Angeles. So she was based out of Miami, and what a mother agent essentially is, it can be the agency that you're signed with, or in my case, she's just a mother agent. She's not an agency. She has models who are signed all over the US and internationally, and she essentially is somebody who has industry connections, who she currently works at an agency, and she's worked at multiple agencies before, and she can get you in the door to meet with the agencies and set up agency meetings with like the head booker or whoever. And it would be a one-on-one meeting that maybe you wouldn't be able to set up for yourself, or you would have to go to an open call or apply online. This way they can see you face to face. That was really helpful for me. I went to a few agency meetings and I ended up signing with Natural Models in Los Angeles, and I'm still with them now. I think in terms of signing with an agency, a lot of girls get caught up on the name or hype around certain agencies, but you should go by your connection with the agency and how you feel they feel about you personally, because they might really love this model and you see how much they've done for her and you think, wow, I want my career to be like that. But you have to make sure that they're that passionate about you as well, because we forget a lot of times that agents and bookers are still human, and you want to have that connection with the people that you're going to be working so closely with. Like, these are the people that are booking your flights for you, that are finding your hotels for you when you go somewhere, that are negotiating your rates, and that are making sure that you're safe, and that care about your well-being, and that want you to succeed, and they want you to excel in your career. And if you make money, you make them money, so you want them to be passionate about you, and you want to have that connection with them as well. I was told right away that kind of my suspicions were correct. It is a little bit harder for girls my size to work initially, and so I didn't really work that much, I'll be honest with you guys, right away. I didn't. I went to casting still, but I have multiple streams of income, and that for a while social media was still my main source of income, and modeling was kind of a supplement to that, and it kind of was something that I was working on alongside my Instagram and YouTube stuff, and mostly Instagram, to be honest. But Instagram paid my bills for a long time. Even now that I'm sitting at home, it's really good to have something else. So it's like a catch-22 with modeling, in my opinion. If you don't have a job that's flexible and you can't put your 100% effort into modeling, it's gonna be tough. It's not unfeasible, it's not doable, but it is tough. I've watched people struggle with their regular full-time 9-to-5 jobs, or their, waitressing jobs, whatever, while being a model, and they can do it. You can do it. You can do anything if you want to, but it was tough. That being said, I'm not naive to the fact that most people aren't just social media influencers or don't have another stream of income that's essentially work from home or work for yourself. So if you are a student, or if you also have another job and you want to pursue modeling, you can do it. But you need to know that there will be times that your work and your castings are at the same time. Your agents are going to expect certain things out of you in terms of maybe even upfront costs, like test shoots. Some people can find free test shoots, but a lot of times test shoots you have to pay for, because you have to pay the makeup artist, the stylist, the photographer, you have to pay them for edits, you have to pay for your comp cards up front, you have to pay for the space on the website. There are a lot of things like front costs that you kind of might have to pay for. You should never pay to be a part of an agency. Like, an agency should never have like oh, this is our fee for you to join the agency. Like, that's not a thing. But there are certain things that they will explain to you that will make sense as to why you have to pay for them. And not only is it a financial investment, it is a big time investment. You have to test and build your book and build your portfolio. And for me, my look changes so often, which is my own fault. Recently, I've kind of kept it the same the last couple months, and I plan to keep my look the same. So I won't have to reshoot my book, but I've had to reshoot my book so many times because I've cut my hair, or I've dyed my hair, or I've lost weight, or I've gained weight, or I've done this, or I've done that. And so yeah, I evolve a lot, but I spend a lot of money on reshooting my tests, or reshooting my book. So just putting that out there, it's a lot. It's not all fun and games, and I recently have been working more than I had ever before, and I've realized how it can be really, really amazing at times and super fun, and you work on set with like these amazing, talented, creative people. When you really get going, the money can be really great. You really just kind of fall in love with it and see it as an outlet, and it can be really, really amazing. Some of the campaigns that I've shot, even just e-com with some of the most awesome people, have been such great experiences, but there are some drawbacks to it. Sometimes you're traveling for many hours of the day just to get somewhere, have it be dark, go to sleep, wake up at 6 a.m., go to set, shoot, go back to the airport after set, fly home, and then work the next day in whatever city it is that you live in. I have done that many a time, even when you're tired or you didn't get enough sleep or whatever it may be. You need to maintain your professionalism, and so many times clients will choose to work with the girl that's pleasant to work with, and I've heard that so many times. But anyways, since I have signed in LA, I've also signed in Miami, New York, and I've signed in London. It was actually random how I got signed in New York. I was on set with a client that I booked through my LA agency in New York. The woman who did the casting for them asked me, "Oh, are you signed in New York?" And I said no, and she was like, "Oh, well, I know the owner of this agency here in New York. It's a really great agency. Have you heard of them?" And I was like, yeah, I've heard of them. And so she had the owner and the top, or the main curve agent, come actually onto set and watch me shoot the following day, because I was there for like 3 days or something, and they signed me pretty much on the spot, and that was pretty amazing. So the New York agency I'm signed with is One Management, and the Miami agency I'm signed with is Select, which used to be MP, if you guys are familiar. And then in London, I got signed with Lenny's, and I absolutely love them. As you guys, some of you might know, I was just in London and I got to meet them, and they were just so amazing, and like I'm just obsessed. I'm obsessed with them. Like my agent Matt there is the cutest, kindest, most amazing person, most professional, hardworking. Like I just love him so much. So that's pretty much how I got signed. In terms of working and all of that, it's taken some time for me to really find my groove, and really find what brands I fit into, and again, like find my look and how I feel most comfortable. I think that getting healthier and really finding a routine in terms of like my meals and my workouts, and finding, as stupid as it sounds, a hairstyle that I really like, and going back to my natural color, and just really kind of maintaining an aesthetic has really helped me to book jobs as well, just because I'm not like constantly changing. And I think that that was like the influencer side of me that really, I always wanted to constantly be changing my look, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I think when you're a model, you kind of have a responsibility to your agent and your clients to like maintain, because even some of my long-term clients would joke and be like, "Nikki's looks, you always look different. Every time we see you, you look different." And I'm like, that's not good. That's not good. So I've grown from that, and I'm finally, I mean, I also, when you think about it, 24 to some of you guys might sound old, but I think I still felt so young within the last 2 years that I've lived in LA. It actually was just, it's about to be 2 years, April 1st, which is pretty insane. I don't know if this video will be posted before or after that, but that's pretty crazy to me. So yeah, I felt really young when I first moved here, just because, I don't know, it was like the first time I'd ever lived on my own, and I was just kind of like living life. This is neither here nor there with modeling, by the way, but I think that modeling also did teach me how to grow up a little bit. There are aspects to it where you are alone a lot of the time, and you kind of have to fend for yourself and figure shit out, because you are in an entirely adult environment. You're working with people who know what they're doing and expect a lot out of you, and you need to show up and put your best foot forward. So it's definitely taught me a lot, and a lot of responsibility and all of that. So yeah, if you guys have any other questions for me, I can do a full modeling Q&A. If you want to leave your questions down below, or if you want to DM me your questions, I can do a full video on your questions regarding modeling. This was just kind of like how I got started, how I got signed, how long I've been modeling for, and like a couple of my tips and tricks, which again, just to summarize, would be essentially to build up an Instagram portfolio. Be mindful when it comes to what agencies are approaching you or what agencies you approach. You want to make sure that everything's legitimate. A lot of agencies do take submissions online, or you can go to open calls, but again, if you're not in a major city, online or sending them through Instagram, or kind of tagging them on Instagram, or having someone find you on Instagram would be probably your most ideal way, to be honest. That's pretty much that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any other questions, video requests, etc., please leave them down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.